All right. Hello. So this is, I think, episode 12. I think this is episode 12. So this is episode 12 of this series, and this is going to be the last one. I think, I don't know if I can get this done in 10 minutes. I think I can, but I'm going to get it done anyway, however long it takes. I only have, well, I'm already past the time that I reserved the studio for, but hopefully no one else needs it. If they do, maybe they'll knock. Anyway, so I think I can get this done, at least done well enough. I'm still kind of unhappy with, or surprised by the lack of the number of rhymes that I found. But anyway, I think it kind of works. So let me see. I'll show you where I am now and put it all together here. So I'll go back to my tradition of starting the notebook anew and just kind of show you what I've done. I did a couple of tweaks between videos, and I'll show you what I did. In the last video, I modified the template to be more flexible, and then I added some more options in my list constructions to adapt to that flexibility. Also, between the videos, I added quite a few more lists. I just went ahead and added the apple cultivars. I mean, it may not be super clear when it comes through if one of those gets picked, but at least they're there to give us more options. I also added condiments and cocktails and sandwiches. Sandwiches is also kind of a confusing list, or it could be kind of confusing because, some of these are, like, you would need to add the word sandwich to make sense of it, like bacon. So if I were to say I am going to give you a bacon, in this case, like, this means a bacon sandwich. It still makes sense to give someone bacon, but you would normally say I want to give you bacon, not I want to give you a bacon. It would make sense to say a bacon sandwich. Since this doesn't have sandwich, I would have to, to be really precise, I would have to go in here and add sandwich. But some of these actually have sandwich built into it, like bologna sandwich. So this, as a list, is kind of not organized super clearly, or at least consistently. Make it a little bigger so you can see it. But it's probably fine. Like breakfast, that's another one that would be kind of confusing. Like if I want to say I want to give you a breakfast, I really mean a breakfast sandwich in this case. Anyway, it'll work. The point is just to get a longer list and then see what we come up with. So I want to kind of see how these lists are doing. I did a little work here, but I want to show you kind of what I've got right now. So I can get my sandwiches or my foods by going get foods, and then, oops, I need to define a few things. Import a few things. Oh, I also figured out I can toggle on the line numbers in Python Notebook, so that might be a bit clearer to look at. So there's my list of foods. That's a long one. If I want to check how long it is, I find it useful to pass it to the length function and just kind of see. So that's 473 foods now. It used to be like 100 something, and now it's 473. So that seems like a lot, right? But watch what happens. So then there's also, I got my places up to 725. I added, since the last video, I added a few things. I added Canadian municipalities, I think, in the last video. I also added London Underground stations to get that up to 725. So now when I do this get pairs thing, actually let me reset that to the way it was before. So when I do this get pairs thing down here, it's going to be the number of places times the number of foods for my comparison. So I can actually just do that math right here. And you'll see that this is going to be doing 342,925 comparisons. So I have 342,925 chances to find a food name that rhymes with a place name given the metrical pattern that I've given it. So this is my comparison function where it actually does that. Where it actually loads the pronouncing library and checks to see if they're in each other's rhyme lists. And it will tell me if it finds something here. I can run it if you want to see the output. But I think I'd rather not see the output until I'm ready for the template, because all I need to know is that this list has at least one thing in it. I ran it here and I got 12. Let's see if that's still the same. So I don't need to print found something. That was just kind of my testing thing. What I need to do instead is save this and return this whole list. I've got it created here as this pairs, so it's an empty list. It's waiting for things. And what I need to stick in this list are a list of pairs, or items that are grouped together. These are going to be tuples. So it's a food and a place stuck together. So I need to go like this. So So again, I've found a match here, then I'm going to append a new item to this list, and it needs to be a tuple. A tuple is notated with the parentheses as opposed to the square brackets for lists or the curly brackets for dictionaries. So with the tuple here, I'm going to add a place and a food to that. And then once that pairs list is populated, then I'm going to return it as the output of this function. So I can find out how many I got. You can already see it from the cell left over here, but we'll go ahead and run it anyway. Hopefully it's more. I don't know. Let's see if it runs. Like I said, 342,000 comparisons, and it still only finds 12 valid pairs. You know, I don't know. I'm surprised that it's not more, but I guess it'll work, and we can work with this, at least for this example. I think one way to maybe get more from that would be to see if I could tweak the pronouncing, the rhyme checking, or maybe look at that manual, the rule-based rhyme checker to see if it would actually find more matches. I feel like there's got to be more matches or close matches within that list. So I don't know. But anyway, 12 is something, so we'll work with that. Okay, so let's clean up here a little bit. I don't need this cell, that was just for testing. So I'm going to go through and kind of clean out some cells I don't need. I don't need that cell, also just for testing. Let's see, get places, get animals, and get foods. Those are the ones I was still using. I mean, those are the ones that worked. That was testing. That was just my information. I don't think I'm using any of these anymore because I think those were all part of my first try. So I have a copy of this, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete this whole cell. I don't think I need it anymore, but if I do, I have a copy I can come back to. And all the way, let's see, I can get rid of this too. That was just also for, no, you know what, I like that one, so I'm going to keep that one. Undo, delete cell. Yeah, I'm going to keep that one. That's a good reference to have. So I do need, though, get foods, get animals, get places, and get pairs. A lot of getting. I'm going to move get pairs into the same cell as these other ones, if I can use my cursor. Just to kind of clean up these extra ones down here a little bit. Okay, so now I'm down to all of these functions that I've defined. Eventually, I will need to move these into the. Actually, no, I'll go ahead and do it now. So I actually need to move these to the top of my program so that those functions are defined before I try to use them. And I'm going to just pop them in right up here. Oh yeah, by the way, I have the to-do list. I figured out some. I did figure out how to get some rhyming. Now I need to figure out how to get it into my template, so that's what I'm doing here. I've got all these functions defined, I've got the template here, and then I'm going to now be sticking them into this template using these functions that I have. Okay, so finally I get to try something and work on something a little different than what I've been working on with all those rhyming pairs. That was kind of a drag, honestly. So get animal is still going to go here, that's fine. I now need to make sure that these two are part of that rhyming pair. So I need to get a pair, I guess, and I can do that with my get pairs, with the result of my get pairs function. And I'll show you what these look like. So let me run this in a cell by itself so you can see what this is going to look like. Oh, it's taking a minute. Okay, so Gary and Cherry, those do indeed rhyme. And as you can see, it's a two-item thing. Let me run it again. The way I'm calling it here, this is actually going to be running that 342,000 comparison thing every time. So that's why it takes a couple seconds. Yang, Z, and P. Okay, I guess that works. Do it again just to make sure. Orange and orange. Okay, there you go. Orange is one of those words that doesn't rhyme with any. Supposedly doesn't rhyme with any other words, but I guess it does rhyme with itself when you talk about it as a place name versus a food. Okay, so what we need to do with this is actually put this in here in two ways. So I've got pair, and I can address different parts of this tuple the same way I would different parts of a list. At least I think I can. Let's see. Pair 0 is orange. Yeah. Okay. And then pair 1 is orange. Great. So I need to actually do a little bit of a tweak on the second one of those to give it the right indefinite article in front of it. But we'll kind of do that. Take this one thing at a time. So we're getting an animal for that first one. The next one I need is going to be pair 0, and the next one is going to be pair 1. Running. Oh, there it goes. Great. But get animal is not defined. Why not? Did I not define it? Oh, right, because I'm not defining it anymore as a... I defined it as a thing that was getting a list of animals, and I called it get animals instead of get animal. So I'm going to go back and make this one singular again because I think that's straightforward enough in this case. So I'm just going to return one animal again. All right, so it takes it a few seconds. There we go. All right, I got it backwards, but you can see I am a wolf. I live near P. If you come visit, I'll give you a Yangtze. So I got those backwards. I need to just switch those around. And of course, it's showing you that example I got. The P and the Yangtze again came up. It's only got 12 to choose from. I am a gazelle. I live near Taiwan. If you come visit, I'll give you a nod. Okay, that makes sense. At least it rhymes, and that demonstrates our pattern is kind of working. Okay, so I need to make sure, by the way, that instead of here, when it says A, I need to make sure that it has the right, if it's either a or an, and that's pretty easy to do with it's a new function. I'll just call it def and an, and then I'll give it, do it a little bit like this. So this is a new function that I guess I should put up with my other functions here. This is going to take a word as input, and then it's going to return a string that contains that word with either a or an, depending on which it is. So if the, so I'm going to do a check here to find out if the first letter of this word is a vowel. So I'm going to check for word in position 0, which is the first letter. And I'm going to see if that is in this list here of vowels. So A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so I'm just creating this list right in place, and then I'm going to be checking if this first letter of the word that it is passed into this function here, if that first letter is one of those, then it's going to be true. And if it is, then I need to return like that. So I'm going to add an instead of just the letter A in front of it. Otherwise, if it's not in that list, then it's a consonant, so I need to return A plus a word like that. So this is generic as a function. This doesn't need to be run with the specific things I'm giving it. It should work with anything. So if I wanted to, I could have it print. I'll just do a print here. So I could print a horse, and it's a horse. Or I could print elephant, an elephant. So it just kind of, it gets that right, whatever you give it. It's a very simple check. There are probably some cases where it would end up getting it wrong because of the way English language has different rules that are broken. But in this case, I can pass that function right into the template constructor here around that option that's being constructed last. And it took away, you notice I had to make sure I have the right number of parentheses there. So let's see. I might be done. I am a boar. I live near Cary. Okay, that needs to be. Why did it do that? If you come visit, I'll give you a cherry. Why did it say A? Is that part of my template? No. Oh, I know why. Because this is the second one. So I'm getting confused by this, so I'm going to rearrange the order in the template a little bit here and see if that works. Because the first thing that my pair returns is the place name, so that's going to be pair 0, and then the one that I need to operate on is the second one, which is pair 1, and then that's going to be in those places. Okay, let's try that now. That should do it. I'm a dingo. I live near Marietta. If you come visit, I'll give you a pita. I mean, that sort of rhymes. It's probably close enough. I guess the library thinks it's close enough. And so you see there's an error here. I have 2 A's because I left the A in my template originally, which I'm constructing on the fly now. So I can take that out of the template and then hopefully get some output that makes sense. I am a tiger. I live near Yangtze. If you come visit, I'll give you a P. All right, that's okay. I guess one thing that would be, a couple ways I could tweak this. Like for the Yangtze, that's a river name, so it would probably make a bit more sense grammatically to say I live near the Yangtze, and then if you come visit, I'll give you a P. But since that wouldn't always work for every kind of place name, I'd have to make sure that my places constructor just adds definite articles when necessary. So that would take a bit more work in that function. I could go into that would be done. I would do that in the get places function somewhere in the way that it's constructed. But I would rather not do that at this point. I feel like I'm pretty much done with this example. I'm reasonably happy with the output, but I'd really like to have more rhyme results. I'm really still surprised that there's not that many things that actually match. So. Oh well, so this is, if I wanted to make this have multiple stanzas, I could simply add some counting. I think 3 stanzas is good for this one. So we'll just do 3 and then have it do this thrice. And that'll be, I think that we'll call that done. Let's see if it'll run. I'm a tiger, I live near Orange. If you come visit, I'll give you an orange. I am a llama. I live near Orange. Okay. I'm a hamster. I live near Metairie? I guess, it would be Metairie, something like that. If you come visit, I'll give you a cherry. And that's it. That's my poem. I think it's pretty good, or at least it's okay. It was a lot of coding to get to that point, and I was surprised how complicated that ended up being. I think I'm going to do a different approach to this, making a rhyme. I'm going to demonstrate that, and I'll do one more video, and I'll do a much shorter and less good, but shorter example, if that makes sense. I'm just going to start over again. This is usually what I do for most of my projects. I get it kind of like 90% done into where I'm like 90% happy with it, and then I either scrap it and start over again, or I just give up on it at that point because I'm still just, it's not perfect. I'm not super thrilled with this. This isn't really ready for prime time yet, but it's good enough to demonstrate a lot of concepts, and hopefully that was helpful going through all that. So to save this, I'm going to keep this as it is. I'm not going to add anything else to this, and just what I'm going to do is just make this a, let's see, can I do a new file from here? I'm just going to make this I'll just do it in Sublime. So I'll just make this a Python script now. I'm just going to need to put it into my GitHub folder for these projects. And I will call it secret peaches.py. All right, so next time I synchronize, something else. That's my personal journal notes thing there. Anyway, this is it. So it's working here in Sublime Text, and if I wanted to, I could run this from a command line. In fact, maybe I should do that as kind of the final bit here. So I'm going to go into that. So now that I've got this here, and I've moved into that directory with my terminal, I'm going to run secretpeaches.py and hopefully get the same output. What? This is because I'm running Python in a different environment here. I'm not going to bother setting it up right now. You saw that it worked in the notebook, and I think that's good enough. The reason I don't have, I don't have pronouncing here. I'd have to go through I need to install it in this particular environment. and then run through it a couple other checks like that. But the basics of it seem to be intact. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching all these videos. Have a nice day.